Ah, hear me. How do we get these stories like Jesus? I mean, the Gospels. I'll tell you how. Forget about your miraculous approach for a minute. It's because there's people in the past that love God. And they want with all their heart to rescue us and all life by sharing what's been a blessing to them. And this is how they've done it. And you despise that because you want some childish miracle of, this golden-haired, blue-eyed Jesus who's supposedly a Jew, wandering around by the lake, walking on the water and healing people. You need that to be a history. What's the matter with us? I need the truth. I need to know the way. And in some sense, these writers have longed to show us the way that they feel is the way. And you can take it or leave it, mate. Try it and see. And if it's a blessing, how wonderful. And if it isn't, okay, perhaps they did their best. It's not to be worshipped. But perhaps it's still the best that's around, eh? What's better? You got something better, go for it, okay? Till you find it's not. You come back again. Fine, you're welcome. You're always welcome here. Oh. All right. Well, okay. And then, is there a need? Do you hunger and thirst? Are you tired of the world? Are you longing for something wonderful in your life? You should give it a try, mate. Give it a try. What have you got to lose? Go for it. I've been assuming God didn't exist. How about assuming he does? And how about assuming he's lovely in the way I understand loveliness to be? And perhaps reading the story of Jesus might help me in that way. Well, not perfectly. It doesn't, I don't agree with everything I read. But, I found it inspiring. It's encouraged me to love my God more. I can do that. Good, do it. You're going to trust that he's going to lead you the right way? Of course you haven't got it right yet. None of us have. We wouldn't still be here if we had. And obviously that includes me talking to you, unless I happen to be God, which is not too likely, is it? I could float around in white and wear a gold crown if that would help. And if you see, 30,000 of my followers all bowing and falling in front of me, you might be persuaded that I'm a great teacher and, a man of God. And you'll probably be wrong, hopelessly deceived. But you'll find out the hard way. Look, that kid in the playground that said to me when I was sorting some dispute out, lighten up, mate. And he dared to tell this teacher, and I was a pretty heavy teacher too. I may have been young, but gosh, I was a bit dominant. And I thought, he's right. He's right. What a cheek. He could be right. I should lighten up. And we should lighten up. And I don't just mean, we the heavy Victorian religious Christian. I mean we, the modern, emphatic, dogmatic, secular, know-it-all, we should lighten up. We need to realise when the world's not working right, when things are falling to bits around our ears, and perhaps we got it wrong. Perhaps we'd be better following Scripture. I mean, to some extent. I don't mean worshipping it and being enslaved by it, but, perhaps these stories, whatever society you're in, you might be in a Hindu society. Okay, read the Gita. Tell you, mate, it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. These things follow him that believe, compassionate from arrogance, exempt from love of self, satisfied in all things. The same in praise and blame. And you think, wow, it's a description of something pretty good. These great religions have survived thousands of years for good reason. And the ones that have only been going a very short time, well, they're very often pretty obviously cults with faults. I don't mean they're all going to be, but I mean, certainly some of them are. Okay, I don't throw good out with the bad, baby with the bathwater. I'm not asking you to chase after rubbish. I read a book by Paramahansa Yogananda. It was Autobiography of a Yogi. I was fascinated by it and moved. I thought, yes, but I couldn't choose him as a guru. I mean, I'm not an Indian. I'm a Western person. I'd choose Jesus if I chose anyone. I'm not inclined to choose anyone anyway. But I realised I was so happy. I was full of joy. And you wouldn't have thought I should have been, because the girl I was in love with loved someone else, and I was psychologically letting her go to do so, not hanging on. And that was probably the best way of dealing with it, of course, but my studies had come to an abrupt interruption because I'd run out of cash, and so I was going to seek a job, refuge in a job as a trainee social worker locally. I was choosing that because I wanted to just help people instead of being some academic, superior being. And I couldn't start. It was springtime and I was reading Autobiography of a Yogi. And I was walking the grounds. I can tell you the part on the path where I was round the lakes. And it was a lovely spring day. The weather was fantastic. In England, Essex University. You wouldn't have thought Essex University was the place to find God, would you? I tell you, mate, anywhere's the place to find God. But anyway, I realised I'm so happy. I wish God existed so I could thank him. I wish he did exist like Paramahansa thinks he does, so I could thank him for being so happy. And then I had this flash of enlightenment, you understand? I thought, wow, what's happened to you, Marshall? You've never wanted God to exist before. What's happened to you? And I didn't come down for 10 days. I was alone, enjoying the campus, going home at night, full of it, coming back in the morning, reading reading the book. Not the Bible. I was reading Autobiography of a Yogi. Written by a guru, not my guru, but I mean a guru. Interesting. Actually, he wasn't writing much about himself. He was writing much more about all these astonishing guys he'd deliberately met in his life. But you got the message after a while. He's pretty astonishing himself. I didn't mean to say I wanted him as a guru. I didn't want a guru. I did want God, though. And that's what had changed. And all credit to him, it was incredibly helped by the book. You know, it was holding my mind on the possibility of God. And of course, God is just what I wanted to be thankful to. Whether he existed or not, I still wanted it. You know, we prove what we want. We don't prove something and then want it. We want something and then we set about proving we're right. Proving why we should go for it. Proving why it's likely to work. We build ourselves with hope. Why? Because of our wants. Our wants give birth to our hopes. And our hopes, oh wow, that drives our actions, mate. We're away. We're on the path. Yeah. Thank you, Dad. Love you. It was a few years ago. I was 24. I'm 75, coming on 76 now. I'm just as young, you know. I'm still flying. I don't mean I've been flying continuously since then. That's why God had me here a long time. Well, a short time in terms of eternity, but a very long time in terms of, you know, not everybody gets to 75, 76, do they? I might go to 220. If so, that's lovely. And if it's not, that's still lovely. Love you, Dad. Just love you. You see, it makes a difference. Perhaps you don't want God yet. Well, that's all right. He'll leave you here until you do. Not to be horrible, but because you'll be happier here than in heaven. You'll be very unhappy in heaven if you don't want it. If you're there under sufferance, it'll be a nightmare for you. You've got to know in your heart that heaven is what you want. Your heaven, well, okay, we understand that. That's okay. Your heaven will adjust with experience when you realize some things are not heaven at all. They're sheer hell after a while. Then you'll have a better idea of what heaven is. And then it'll be so lovely for you to come. Because you'll find it lovely to come. And there's no point in you coming earlier. Just put you off what is really your eternal happiness. And that would be a terrible shame to do that. So you'll be here a little longer. A little longer from the point of view of eternity. Well, hardly at all. Much longer, perhaps, from the point of view of this world, and that's very sad. But it won't be too sad for you, for if it were too sad, you'd long for heaven. You see, God set it up so that you can't lose. Why? Because he loves you. Why? Well, actually, because he wanted with all his heart, a lovely heavenly host that lived in joy and peace and goodness and fellowship and blessing eternally. And there's nothing that can stop